अस्सलाम एंड वेलकम टू फुटबॉलिस्तान की ये दोबारा एक एपिसोड के साथ हम आज हाजिर हैं। और आज जो हमारे पास गेस्ट मौजूद हैं बहुत ख़ास हैं। और जब हमारी बात भी हो रही थी और एक पोल भी कराया गया था तो 500 लोगों ने वोट किया था और 70% लोगों ने कहा था कि भाई अगले पॉडकास्ट में आपको लाना है ओटिस खान को। हमने वो बात पूरी कर दी और आज हमारे साथ ओटिस खान मौजूद हैं। और क्योंकि हमारे पास आज ओटिस खान मौजूद हैं तो आज का पॉडकास्ट होगा इंग्लिश में। ओटिस, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out. I know you have a lot going on at the moment. Looking forward to your national team debut. So thank you for that. And I'm just going to hit it right off the bat. You've not made your first appearance for Pakistan yet. That's upcoming in the next couple of days. But the fans have gone absolutely berserk. 70% of
Yeah,
them wanted this interview to be with you. And how does that just feel for you at the moment?
it feels incredible. Obviously, the poll results was nice for me, and since the federation's put the video out announcing that all my documentation's been complete and I will be playing for Pakistan, I've had thousands of positive messages on Instagram, social media, Facebook, Twitter. So my phone's really been going crazy ever since that moment they put it on, which obviously I'm grateful for, and I can't wait to put on the shirt.
Fantastic. And, of course, this is a massive step for you going out and playing out in the international stage, and it's the rightful next stage of your journey. But if you look at it, you've been in the game for quite a while now, and you've been at all sorts of clubs, and you have very diversified experience within English football. And if we just take a step back and try to understand Otis Khan and how really you got into football in the first place.
Well, I was around 5 or 6 years old at the time. I was playing for a local team called Medlock Rangers near my house. My dad actually managed the team there, so I've got a twin brother called Levi. So me and my brother will play for my dad's team. We've done well. We did really well there in the tournaments up and down the country. I was playing for them for like a year or two, up to 7, 8 years old, and then Manchester United picked me up, and I went to go play for the academy from 7 years old all the way up to 16, 17. So I think from a really young age, I knew I wanted to play football, and that's all I've really known since 6, 7 years old, to be honest.
Fantastic. And did your father, put that interest into football for you? Obviously, within the UK, it's a massive sport. It's more or less like a
Yeah.
religion here in terms of the game. But did you always have that growing up? And do touch upon the fact that your grandfather, who you qualified through to obtain the Pakistani citizenship as well, did he have any role with that? Because you can imagine Pakistanis, it's more down to cricket, no?
Yeah, I suppose with my dad, he was a United fan growing up. We went to the stadium when we were younger, saw the trophies, saw the pitch. But as you can imagine in the UK, especially lads and kids who are around 5, 6 years old, all they do is watch football, play football. I think my first Christmas present was a football. So, and having a twin brother my age, it was perfect because, I could go on the field near me, play football with him. Until the sun sets, really. So, but my dad was really keen. I think he noticed something in me and my brother when we was really little, a bit of talent that if he just nurtures that talent, then he's really got something there.
Yeah, definitely. Start young in that situation. And when was this, if you'd remember the year, and how old were you when you got that opportunity to go to Manchester United? And I'd imagine this would be somewhere in the early 2000s.
Yeah, so I think it was around maybe 2001, 2002. I was playing in the tournament near me, and there was a Manchester United scout of the name of Mike Glennie. He'd watched me in the tournaments and he invited me down to go and play for Manchester United, go for a trial. So I went down to, it's called the Cliff. Manchester United, now the first team, used to play there, and that was their main academy building for the first team, but obviously it switched to Carrington. So I got invited down to the Cliff, had a couple of the training sessions, and then the sign from. I've still got the pictures with mum and dad. Obviously, it was a very proud moment for us. And being a United fan growing up, it was almost like a dream to come true, really.
And how old were you when you signed for Manchester United?
I was 6 or 7 years old. So it was early 2000s.
So, and as I understand, this would not have been like schoolboy terms, or were there like schoolboy terms that you would have with a normal English
No,
club?
it's just, I think you sign a contract saying you're going to play for Manchester United at the time. And obviously you can't play for anybody else. But I didn't tell United at the time I was still playing for my dad's team in tournaments to help the team out. And I had a few friends on the United team as well who would play together, because I think we train maybe twice a week with United, and then it was maybe a game on the weekend. But there was a few tournaments in it, inside that in when you finish school, for summer holidays. So we could play in tournaments as well. But being at that age, 5, 6 years old, you're really keen to play football, and you just want to play as much football as you can. But all it was a little signing process to say you're playing for United. It's not a schoolboy. The schoolboy contract's at 16 years old, so it's almost like to say you're not playing for anybody else, but you sign for United up until they see fit.
Okay, so that makes sense. And now you're like a United supporter, and you are at a very young age, and you go on to perhaps the biggest club of that time. United are, a force to be reckoned with in the UK and then in Europe as well. So Alex Ferguson is in charge. How does that experience shape up as a footballer? And you, continue with the academy for a number of years. So how was that experience like?
I think as you get more older, where I'm looking at it now, you probably realised what you had at the time when you're young. Even though it's Manchester United, to me, I was just going playing football with my friends. Whether that be at school or whether that be in the Manchester facilities, then I had the same mentality. But obviously, being a United fan, playing for United, playing with my friends at United, it was, like I said, like a dream come true. You've got the pristine pitches and you've got the best coaching in the world. I believe at that time Manchester United Academy was the best in the world when Ferguson was there. So I believe I got the best pedigree in football at that time worldwide. And as you got a bit older, I think it was 14, 15, you moved on to the first team building called Carrington, which is obviously a big step in your career at that time, because everybody knows when you're at the cliff from age 6 till about 13, 14. After that, you move over to Carrington, the first team building. So when you go over there, then your eyes really do light up.
And for the duration of your academy career, you stayed at Manchester United, that's correct,
Yeah,
right?
stayed up to Manchester United all the way up to 16, 17. Then I went over to Sheffield United to do the scholarship programme.
Okay. And were there like any interesting stories during that time at Manchester United? I'm assuming you came, which batch did you have, like very famous teammates that came through as well, or
I,
how were the
I had
interesting
a few,
stories
a
like?
couple of years older than me was Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, we trained with him a number of times. Marcus Rashford was a couple of years younger than me. But when we do big games in the big Astro Hall, we'll all mix in teams. So I've played with Rashford, I've played with Pogba, I've played with a lot of players like that. But I think one memory that sticks out for me is when I was under 16s, we went over to the first team building. Tony Whelan took us over. He's the academy manager, and we all went in Alex Ferguson's office and give us like a 5 minute conversation about team spirit and what to expect from him. And there was a famous painting. You might have seen it before, Shahrukh. It's a famous painting on the wall. It's I think it's the Irish building, New York, maybe the 20s and 30s on top of a skyscraper. So they've all got a rope attached to each other, basically saying if one falls, the rest of them fall. So he explained a bit about that picture and what it means. Obviously, team spirit, togetherness, and that sort of sticks out for me massively from my time there.
Fantastic. And I recall you mentioned a story once regarding Rio Ferdinand too. What was that
Oh,
about?
so I was injured at the time. A lot of people, I'm not going to say myself, but a lot of people at the time pretended they was injured because when he was injured as a 15, 16-year-old lad, they get to go over to the first team building and do the physiotherapy rehabilitation. So you'd see the first team players knocking about, Rio Ferdinand, Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney. So a lot of players would go over there, but at that specific time, I was actually injured. So I was doing my physiotherapy over in the first team building. And the first team was sat there, Rio Ferdinand and a few of the players. And Rio Ferdinand had a little joke with me because Makeda was sat a few bikes next to me. And he said, "Look, Makeda, there's your twin brother." And obviously, Makeda looks a bit similar to me. When I was a bit younger, I had the shorter hair, so we had a bit of a laugh like that. But a lot of people enjoyed going over to that side of the building because you see a lot of the first team players, and to get interaction like that with Rio Ferdinand, I think it was the biggest fee of a defender in the Premier League at the time to get a compliment. Well, I won't say a compliment, but I'd say like he recognised you at that time. It was great.
Sheffield United. How did that come about then?
After I left United at 16, there was a few conversations with different clubs to go there. And obviously after Manchester United having the pedigree going from 6 to 16, there was a lot of interest. So I went for a trial at Nottingham Forest and played against Sheffield United and had a terrific game. And one of the Sheffield United scouts spoke to my dad. Obviously, it was closer to my house, probably Sheffield. And then I went over there. I think the academy manager at the time was called Dave Unsworth, he's managed Everton a few times, and Jamie Hoyland, he's been at Burnley. So we had a conversation with them, and then I went over and signed a 2-year scholarship with them. Obviously, Sheffield United at the time, and still are a massive club. You know, they've been in the Premier League recently, and at that time as well. So it was definitely a good decision on my part to go to a club like that to continue sort of my football development.
Fantastic. And after that, you moved down to Sheffield United, and it was at that time where you really came through the ranks, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think I made my debut at 18 years old under Nigel Clough. And normally in your 2-year scholarship, you finish your 2-year scholarship and then they offer you professional terms, professional contract. But a year into my scholarship, they offered me a professional contract early because of how well I was doing. And this pushed me onto the first team, travelling with the first team, training with them. And I eventually got my debut at 18 years old under Nigel Clough.
Fantastic. And so when you were at Sheffield United, they also sent you out to loan to different clubs. Matlock Town was also like one of them. So as a professional footballer who's coming to the ranks, how important is it to be loaned out to other clubs just so that you can get that opportunity to play first team football?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of it, and even now, 27 years old, if there's a young player in the team, I'll have a conversation with him, help out with my experience, and always mention that because I think a lot of people and a lot of players struggle now when they're younger, playing in an under 23 setup for a number of years. Obviously, the style of football is totally different to going into a professional environment. You know, you've got people fighting to win the games. They've got mortgages to pay. They've got bills to pay. You know, they've got kids to feed. Whereas an under three league is totally different. You're almost playing for fun. So going out on loan to a lower divisions really gets you ready to come into the first team. So with that competitive edge, almost like that fighting spirit to get ready for the game.
And after that, when you obviously got an opportunity to play with the Sheffield United first team as well, you then began like a journey, I would say. And would it be fair to call you a journeyman as well? Because when you look at the clubs that, you've been at Yeovil Town, you've been at Tranmere, you were at Leyton Orient, you were at Grimsby, it's practically a geographical map of the UK itself with the clubs that you've been around. How is that experience shaped up to? And then, how did you really end up at Grimsby Town that time from Sheffield United to coming on to Grimsby Town now?
Well, like you say, it's it has been a journey up and down the country, different clubs. After Sheffield United, I went to Yeovil Town for 2 years. I had a terrific time down there. Played on the left wing in a 4-3-3 formation. Scored a lot of goals down there. Done well, playing week in week out. Really enjoyed my football. Then I moved on to Mansfield Town. The manager at the time, Dave Flitcroft, he wanted me to play a different position, which obviously fit into a different formation that he was going to play. I sort of did well there. I hit the ground running, scoring a few goals. Got a little injury. Then after that injury, he decided to put somebody else in. This is football. It's ruthless. This is how it goes sometimes. And somebody else was playing that position. So I didn't get them 2 years on the position that I needed to play. So then after the 2 years, I felt like I needed to move on again. And obviously that led to my time going to Tranmere, which I loved. I've got nothing but good words to say about, the fans, the club, the players, the staff behind the scenes. It's really, really terrific club and I enjoyed my time there. So Keith Hill was there at the time. He did really well, played me a number of positions. He saw something in me at right wing back, which I done well there. We got to the Johnson's Paint Trophy final. Now it's called the Papa John's Trophy final at Wembley. I got man of that match in that game against Sunderland. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was a great occasion. Then after Tranmere, moved on again. There was Leyton Orient. I went down to London, signing under Kenny Jackett. Unfortunately, I think 3-4 games into that, he got the sack and a new manager come in. And again, new manager, new budget, new players, want something different for the new season. So that was another conversation that had to be had. So I found myself moving on again. And when I got the phone call from Paul Hurst for Grimsby Town, so he wanted me to play me back on left wing where I was enjoying my football at Yeovil Town, where I was playing my best football. And he sort of told me, you're going to be playing on the left. I want to play as a winger, which shoot me down to the ground. You'll get more opportunities in front of goal. You get more 1v1s. and more, opportunities to dribble, and I couldn't really turn it down, to be honest. And the first season at Grimsby, I'd unfortunate with 2 injuries for about 3 months. But I thought I made an impact when I played, and I'm already looking forward to next season.
And part of that, all of this entire journey, you are someone that's gone from going out on loan to establishing yourself in league football in the UK, which is definitely not easy from someone with the South Asian background. And you've made over 276 appearances, with the vast majority of them coming in the English League Two, and scored 43 goals as well. But during that time, especially in 2015, you were looked at and approached for the Pakistan national team, and ultimately that did not come into fruition. How did that come about? And what really
Yeah, I was
happened?
at Sheffield United at the time, and a really good friend of mine who's helped me sort out my documentation now came to see me. Mohammed Chanawaz, he helped. He's been helping behind the scenes massively, as well as yourself. He came to see me out. I think he was outside the stadium one time. I think I finished a game at Bramall Lane, and he was outside just speaking about, well, how would you like to play for the national team? How would you like to go over there? We've got World Cup qualifiers. We've got a few games. It help your profile. And I'm being 17, 18-year-old, I think having the setbacks, which I did at United, didn't get a professional contract there. Then moving from Sheffield United, I think I just totally wanted to focus on sort of getting a career in the game, in England, building up myself in England, get myself to a point where I can sign a good contract in England before I start looking elsewhere. And obviously, I think I tried doing it with Shanawaz, but there's a few issues, documentation, so it wouldn't have been done anyway. In hindsight, I wish I would have done it years back then. I could have been helping Pakistan for nearly 8-9 years now. Something obviously I regret at the time. But I think being 17, 18-year-old at that time, you really want to establish yourself in the English game, which I've done now. I've got nearly 300 appearances, and I believe now this is almost perfect timing that I can play for the national team, as I've got improved better at football. I've matured as a player, and I've got a lot of experience I'm willing to share with the team and help moving forward.
Definitely, definitely. And I think at Grimsby Town, you seem to have found your feet, because you could see after that injury return as well, you were playing a very attractive brand of football. You looked very happy on the pitch as well. You've scored 6 goals
Yeah,
this season, and you've made about 39
yeah,
appearances. But you're also one of the catalysts that inspired Grimsby Town to get to the quarterfinal, and you took on the mighty
yes.
Brighton. So how was that experience like, and how's this season basically been for you at
Yeah,
Grimsby?
in terms of in the league, I think we've had the highest finish the club has had for a number of years in the league, which is obviously a good achievement. They've just come up as well. Well, in the league also, I think personally 6 goals isn't where I want to be. Like I said, I had 4 months in, like 2 months, then 2 months injuries. I had an injury in pre-season also, which didn't help. So I believe if I get a full season, I'll easily be hitting double figures. But yeah, like I said, the manager's been playing me, on the left. I've been getting a lot of opportunities. I like to play the ball on the floor, and I'm really enjoying my time. Obviously at Grimsby and that incredible FA Cup run. I've played in the FA Cup for a number of years in England, but to get to actually the quarterfinals and play, it's amazing memories. Knocking out Southampton at their stadium when everybody wrote us off. League Two team against a Premier League side with the likes of Theo Walcott and play Ward Prowse, players like that in their team, and we still managed to beat them. So yeah, it's obviously massive for the club, it's massive for the town, and it's massive for the fans. And it was just unfortunate, really, that we had to draw Brighton, because everyone can see what they're doing in the Premier League at the moment.
And you play a lot of most of your football within League Two. When you go up against Premier League opposition, and even that on the upper edges of the Premier League competition, how different is the approach, or how different is the game when you're actually on the pitch?
I'd say it's a lot different in terms of decision making. I think you get a bit more time you do in the Premier League on the ball, whereas in terms of League Two, you've got a lot of players pressing you, high pressing you, quickly getting round to you. I think the higher up you go, you've got to be better decision making, because if you give the ball away in certain positions, they're going to punish you. And I think with Brighton, especially playing them, you can tell the quality on the ball. Every pass is to the right foot. Everybody's moving for each other. Everyone's in the right positions. So I think it's really just a speed of thought and as a team understanding. But I felt obviously we did give a good account of ourselves in the Southampton game. But the Brighton game, I think there was probably too much of us who.
Okay, so when the season concluded, you also got an amazing news coming through, and the Pakistan Football Federation announced that they had completed your documentation so that you could go on and represent Pakistan as well. And in the next couple of days, Pakistan has about 6 games lined up for the month of June. You're going to the Four Nation Cup in Mauritius, featuring the hosts themselves. Then you've got Kenya, which are one of the tougher teams in that competition. And then you've also got Djibouti before you sign off from Mauritius and head on to India, where you're playing the SAF Championship, again, the biggest tournament in South Asia. India, Pakistan, that's a rivalry for the ages, but then you've also got Kuwait in your group, and then you've got Nepal as well. So what are your thoughts on just, going out and finally being able to represent Pakistan and being in an opportunity where you get to play like 6 games on the trot?
Yeah, like I said, it's an amazing feeling. This has been a sort of a long time coming, especially the documentation behind the scenes. It's really been a difficult process, but I've got really good people around me who's helped me throughout the process. That's helped massively. So, like I said before, I think it's all perfect timing. Everything's come together at the right time, ready to obviously go and represent Pakistan. It's a really proud moment for me, for my family, and obviously my granddad from my granddad's country, from Faisalabad. So it's I'm incredibly proud, and I can't wait to get on the shirt and give everything. We'll give everything for the badge, and obviously I want to thank obviously Coach Shazad and the President Haroon Malik for giving me this opportunity, and something I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully bringing success to Pakistan.
Definitely. And these are exciting times for Pakistani football as well. You've got World Cup qualifiers in October, and alongside yourself, you've got a number of overseas players that have been included for the squad that Coach Azad announced. A 28-man squad has 9 overseas players, a number of them from the UK as well. You've got Harun Hamid, who was with the QPR on 21s, and then you've got Isa Suleiman, who again, has represented England 46 times. He's won the under-19 European Championships, and now he's in Portugal. So what are your thoughts, and what do you think are Pakistan's chances when it comes to the Four Nation Cup and the SAF Championship, considering the quality of opposition that we're really up against?
I think obviously again perfect timing. You've got a few players like you said coming over for England to help the cause, and obviously I've watched a few videos. I think it was in the Nepal game, wasn't it? The friendly I watched there.
Yeah.
We've got some talented players in the team, and we've got really strong defenders. I think once everybody comes together, players from England and players from all over the world, and we come together, I do believe that we can actually have success in the tournament. You'll see this in the games, the friendlies coming up, getting the fitness ready for the SAF Championship. But I do believe if everybody comes together, we can really be a success. Obviously, it's not going to be an overnight thing. Sorry, Shahrukh.
No worries.
It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's something that's going to take a bit of time. But I do believe we've got the talent there, and we've got the right people behind the scenes to really have a successful tournament.
And overall, Pakistan hasn't had a lot of luck with the World Cup qualifiers or football in general in the last couple of years. And because of that, a lot of players that are coming into the squad, the fans that are following the team, they never really got a chance to see those players in action, and yourself as well. So fans haven't had an opportunity to see you playing at Grimsby Town, but they seem to be very excited about it. And how would you describe yourself as a player? All of us know that you do play as a winger, but what do you see yourself as a player? How would you describe yourself?
I see myself as an exciting player. I like to get on the ball, dribble, take people on. And I just want to get in goal scoring opportunities, to be fair, because I know we've got good players who can play me the ball through and get me in them opportunities. So I like to take people on, get plenty of shots, and just be an exciting player and make impacts on the games. And hopefully that's what I'll do in the tournament and in the friendlies coming up.
So reasonable to say that we should expect that Otis Khan will be getting a goal in the next couple of games.
Yeah,
for
God
Pakistan.
willing, I'll be getting a few goals. Yeah, definitely.
So overall, obviously, this Pakistan journey starts with you right now. It's a big year for Pakistani football in general as well. And the World Cup qualifiers is been Pakistan's problem for the last 30 years now, not being able to go past the first round. And with the only team in Asia that's not been able to do it, and it's not necessarily been down to the team, just a lot of factors have come into play for that. But that is also an exciting opportunity, because if we get past the first round, that opens up the floodgates. You get to play with the biggest teams in Asia. You get about 14 competitive matches in the next 3 years, alongside the opportunity to play a lot of friendlies. What would that exposure be, offer to you and for the team as well? Is that something that's really on your mind
Yeah, I
now?
think at the moment in time, the main focus is obviously Mauritius and India, but obviously that is in the back of my mind. So I've obviously read the history of the World Cup qualifiers, and it's something that I want to try and rectify and try and help as much as I can, and obviously bring success to it. Like you just said, it'll open a lot of doors, individually, as a team, as a collective. But I think once you bring success to the team, it helps individuals, it helps everybody in that team. So I think depends how obviously Mauritius goes and we go to India, and then we can really get focused for the World Cup qualifiers. Because like you said, if we can put all our efforts and hard work into that one game and win that game, then like you said, it'll bring 14 games in 3 years, which then will bring more time for the team to gel, more players to come over, people to improve on the skills, and obviously behind the scenes things can improve as well. So I think it's a perfect storm waiting to happen, really. But the hard work needs to be done before that, so it gives ourselves the best opportunity to go and win.
Speaking of hard work, so India,
Yes,
Pakistan, you pretty much know how big of a rivalry
yeah,
that is. And the opening game of the SAF Championship is India versus Pakistan in Bangalore. Probably going to have about 30,000 people screaming their lungs out
yes.
at the Country Tower Stadium. Where do you see that
I see us
going?
winning the game. It's something that soon I was waiting for the fixtures to come out, and that was the first game. I know it's going to be massive. I know the rivalry from the cricket. Obviously, seen that over the years, but the fact that we'll be able to play football against them now, you know what it's going to be like. It's gonna. I don't think there'll be too much football being played. I think it'll be more of a fight. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, all the Pakistan players will definitely be ready for the fight, and it's something that I'll be there with them, helping as much as I can.
Definitely, definitely. And in terms of luck, Pakistan's never been favorable in terms of draws, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened with the SAF Championship. We got the toughest draw that we could have possibly gotten. What do you reckon are our chances of really getting out of this group? You've got India, you've got Kuwait as well, and you've got Nepal as well, a team that we've been historically able to beat on the number of times we played them. But Kuwait and India, do you reckon Pakistan has a chance
I
of
think
getting
there's
out of this
always a
group?
chance. Like, if you go back towards Grimsby Town, getting to the quarterfinals, we beat Southampton in the Premier League. I'm a positive person, and I believe going into the tournament, if we all obviously working hard and positive as a team, as a collectiveness, togetherness, we can really get somewhere in the tournament. Because say we get through the group, where so we beat India, we beat Kuwait, then they're two of the toughest teams, probably the toughest teams in the tournament. So if we beat them, we manage to get through, then that'll bring more positivity to the team, thinking, we've beat these teams. Why can't we beat this team? Why can't we beat this team? The more we believe in ourselves that we can do something, I believe positive things will happen.
Definitely, definitely. And just getting a switch back, because a lot of times fans in Pakistan, they never really get a chance to have this open conversation with a professional footballer who's playing, some of his best football at the moment and playing for a League Two club as well. So help us understand, what is it life like, playing professional football. What does life look like on like a weekly, daily basis, and what happens for you on a regular basis when you're out on training
I
and all?
think some people have this maybe vision that a professional footballer really lives this exciting life. He's doing this, he's doing that. But really, to be honest, it's quite a boring life. It's a disciplined life. I think we train Monday, Tuesday. We have day off on Wednesday, then train Thursday, Friday, and the game Saturday. So all week, you'll be training pretty much. And even on your days off, your Wednesday, Sundays, you'll be recovering, ready to go again. So there's never really a time off until the end of the season. It's always go go go. You want to give your best account of yourself, a best version of yourself in training and in the game. So you make sure you keep being picked on your good performances. So I'd say it's quite a boring lifestyle, to be honest. It's very disciplined. He's a very disciplined. We finish training at 2 or 3 o'clock. I'll go home. I might have a stretch. I'll make some food. I'll go to sleep early. Then it's ready to do it all over again. So, but mainly on my days off, I like to spend time obviously with my family, recover after games, which is massive, and it's going to be massive in the tournament coming up. We've got games thick and fast, and yeah, just probably go out for the food and spend time with the family. So it's quite a boring life, to be honest. Maybe if you ask somebody around 18, 19 playing in the Premier League, it might be a bit different. But yeah, for me, it's a very very boring, but very disciplined. And obviously, I wouldn't have it any other way because it's something I've grown up doing, and I feel very, very lucky and very fortunate to be doing it as a job.
Definitely. So you're 27, you're an established professional at Grimsby Town. You're very widely respected within the South Asian community in football as well. You've been there, done that with a number of clubs, and reached the quarterfinal of the FA Cup as well. You're set to make your international debut in the next couple of days. Where do you see yourself after having achieved a lot of things that a footballer would really want to in his career? Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years, and what would be your realistic ambitions?
Realistic ambitions. Like you said, I'm 27 now. I've played a lot of my football in England. I've got 300 appearances. I think I'd like to maybe go abroad, maybe go to Asia, try and look in that market and play in some of the countries out there. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Go experience a different culture, a different lifestyle, and put myself in situations which I'm not used to, which I enjoy doing. I feel like you grow and you learn more from that, and I'll get a bit more experience of different parts of the world. So I think that's something I definitely want to do is play in Asia one day.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what we can expect is that you're going to be making your debut, and by the looks of it, we are going to see an Otis Khan goal at some point. And just we're coming to the conclusion of the podcast as well. One thing I wanted to touch upon before we come to the conclusion. So we've seen that you are a free kick specialist of sorts as well. You have the ability to take the ball and put it back to the net from set pieces. So what are the chances of you getting like an injury time winner free kick for Pakistan in the next six game? And what would that
It's
moment be
something I've
like?
always prided myself on, my set piece delivery from corners, free kicks, penalties, everything like that. I've been practicing that for years now, and it's something obviously which has paid off in games. I've scored a lot of free kicks up and down the country for different teams. I think when I seen the fixtures come out, Pakistan versus India, I think I've had a dream scoring last minute free kick winner against them. But yeah, it's something I've always prided myself on. When I go over and meet the team in Mauritius, it's something I will be doing after training, getting a few balls, hitting a few free kicks, and constantly practicing, constantly getting at the feet for the ball. So I know when that time comes in the tournament, I'm going to be ready to step up and take it.
Fantastic. And just last question before we sign off. So, your grandfather was from Pakistan, he's from Faisalabad as well. He's unfortunately not with us anymore, but when you put on the Pakistan national team jersey and you are standing with the team and the national anthem is going on, what do you think his reaction would have been? And I'm sure he's watching us from above, but what would he have said
Yeah,
to you
you're
at
right.
that
He's
point?
definitely watching me from above. He's my dad's told me he would be the proudest man in the world. He would have took me over to Pakistan, would have introduced me to everybody, be telling everybody I'm his grandson. Showing me off. But yeah, it's a proud moment for me to play for the national team, and it would have been a really proud moment for him. So definitely, when that national anthem comes out and when I get that first goal, I'll definitely be looking up, and I know he'll be proud of me.
Thank you, thank you. And we wish you the very best of luck with your international debut, Otis. And thank you so much for taking out the time today to come on to Footballistan and share your story. एंड आप सबके लिए बहुत शुक्रिया हमारी स्टोरी आज सुनने के लिए ओटिस खान के साथ बहुत ही अमेजिंग एक्सपीरियंस उनके साथ भी रहा है और वो आगे अपना इंटरनेशनल डेब्यू भी कर रहे होंगे फुटबॉलिस्तान पे हम इसी तरह स्टोरीज अपनी कवर करते रहेंगे लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा और मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद